Is it worth taking out a loan to pay for your wedding?
Well, I know it's a personal question. For me, no. No. Have you checked the divorce rates?
Hi, I'm Sammy. I'm a sociology student.
My name is Dina and I'm a fitness trainer, a musician.
Hi there, my name is Agatha Nielsen. I work as a research consultant.
Hi, my name is Yvonne Liang. I'm an acupuncturist.
I'm Ross, I'm a copywriter.
Hi, I'm Mike, one of the financial coaches at Claro, and today we're going to be talking to millennials and I'm going to be reacting to their views on financially planning for a wedding.
How much on average do people spend on their wedding?
I couldn't give you an average. I've had so many different prices. I've had people talk about $3,000, like on TV, plan a wedding for $3,000. It's supposed to be very little, I guess.
I'm sure I've heard the amounts. Must be like, I don't know, £40,000. I mean, you can even spend $500,000, right? If you want it fancy.
Yo, people spend, annually? I think people spend like 50K on a wedding. They can spend 100K on a wedding.
I think it's about 20K USD. But that was pre-COVID. Things have gotten more expensive, so it's probably higher now.
I think £10,000 is probably about average, but I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, so I'm no wedding planner by any means, but as far as I'm aware, it falls somewhere around that 10,000 to 15,000 mark as kind of an average spend. But obviously this can be a massive range. You'll have people that are super conservative, just worried about, the documentation, get married, fair enough. You'll have other people where it's been their childhood dream for decades and they want to make it the most lavish day in the world and there is no budget. So the averages don't really tell the story because it's very rare that a wedding's probably going to fall directly on that kind of 10 to 15,000 pounds level. The range can be so vast, but I guess the thing to remember is that you can have full control over how much your wedding costs because there's things that you can do to control that spend.
How long should you save up for a wedding?
You shouldn't have to, because if you can't afford it and you're having to save up for a wedding and you don't have the money already to have this party, don't get married. Don't do it.
I kind of feel like a wedding is something that you should just have the money for. And if you can't afford it, then don't do it.
That's a question that's very personal to everyone, let's be honest. A year? I wouldn't, to be fair, I wouldn't save up for more than a year.
I would say do not save up for a wedding. Save up for a house if you need to. Save up for, medical bills. Save up for food. Save up for saving the planet. Don't save up for a wedding, just forget it.
Well, if you don't want to take a loan and you are determined to do a wedding, I would probably say a year or 2 years.
Yeah, it's completely subjective. It doesn't really, there is no timeline. So who's to say that you should save up for any amount of time? The way to think about it is what type of wedding do you want to have? How much does that cost? And how much can you afford to save each month? It's as simple as that. Do the maths and then it takes that long. Now, what you'll find is usually you'll either say, okay, I'm happy to wait that long, or at that point you may then want to, lean on extra credit and things like that. Like I said though, be really careful. What we don't usually want to do when it comes to using credit cards and other debt is make any kind of extra lavish purchases that we wouldn't usually make. For instance, if we're looking at improving someone's credit score using credit cards, the last thing we want to do is make them purchase or, consider purchasing anything that they wouldn't usually. It'll be things like groceries and bills and things that they would usually do because at the end of the day you're still taking on debt, and so we want to be really careful of that. In terms of saving though, like I say, I would just say work out what you want to do. The range can be really vast, and so it's up to you to decide how much you want to spend. How long does that take by how much you can save each month or each quarter or whatever it is.
Should you get a prenup?
If he has less money than me, then yes. No, I don't believe in prenups. I wouldn't marry anyone who had less money than me. So.
Currently I'd say no, but it's a trust thing, isn't it? If you say yes, that just like you've just destroyed your relationship. Like I think if you say to somebody now, like that you're about to propose, and you're down on one knee and you're like, oh, will you marry me? By the way, can we get a prenup? Because I don't know if this thing's gonna last and I trust you with half of my money.
A few months ago, I'd be like, nah, come on. Like, I trust. Yeah, definitely get a prenup. Get a prenup, make it very strict, make it literally impenetrable. Get a prenup.
Yeah. Have you heard about the divorce rate? It's like signing a contract, really. Would you go to a job and just sign a contract without knowing what the financial situation is?
Yes. Get a prenup, guys. Get a prenup. Because I feel like, as individuals, you have your own freedom and these are your finances. So definitely get a prenup. But this is why I don't believe in contractual marriage. I feel like a marriage, like I said, is a bond, a ritual between two people, and doesn't need to be governed by the state. So not necessary.
What an awkward conversation to have with your partner. Yeah, mood killer completely. But there is, if we're looking at it completely logically and just from a financial point of view, there could be some benefit in having a prenup in terms of if there is a lot of money at stake, a lot of assets between you, or particularly on one side, then by all means, if you want to, then consider it. But what a mood killer to bring up at a time that you're trying to be as romantic as possible. What can I say? Up to you guys.
Why should you pay for a wedding on a credit card?
I mean, if you had to pay for it on a credit card, I don't think that is the right answer. I don't think you should pay for a wedding on a credit card. But if you have to, and you can pay it back on time, I suppose it's good for your credit score.
Why? No, don't do that. The only time you would do that is if you were living in a certain country and then you can move away from that. So if you went to visit a country and you could go without paying the credit card, yeah, sure, spend whatever you need to spend and just...
Oh yeah, it's probably about the credit score history, and you are if you pay it off, then probably looks better.
You shouldn't pay for anything. You should pay for little things on a credit card, like things here and there that you can easily pay back and watch your credit. But you shouldn't pay for a wedding on a credit card unless it's small items.
Oh, points.
Yeah, so there are a few reasons why you might want to consider using a credit card. I've mentioned some of them before, but as long as you have a plan, you have to have a plan. Frivolous spends on credit cards is the quickest way to get into financial trouble. Don't do it. But as long as it's a structured plan, i.e. for instance, you're making considered purchases for a wedding, then yes, as long as you meet at least your minimum repayments and you, in a perfect world, like I've already said, clear the balance in full before you start paying interest, then your credit score will basically improve because it shows lenders, look, I can borrow this money and then repay it responsibly. Please improve my credit score, and it works great for future. But as well as that, like I've already said, Section 75 will give you additional protection for any purchases over £100, which is great. And I think somebody mentioned their points as well, so that's something I didn't mention before. So with certain providers, they will basically have point schemes where, for instance, you can get air miles or other things. So if you're looking at quite a considerable spend, which most weddings will be, if you're gonna make that purchase anyway, then you might as well get something for it. And so if you are looking at, there are stories I've heard, for instance, where someone's used a credit card responsibly, built up enough air miles to then pay for the honeymoon flights. Thanks guys, that's been Millennial Views on financially planning for a wedding. Let me know what you thought and your own comments on saving for a wedding. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again soon.